South Alabama spoils the final game of 2025 for Qantas White and the Ragin Cajuns. We'll talk about it here on Ragin Rundown. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode of Ragin Rundown, and a happy new year to you guys. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you can always call me Fitz. Guys, if this is your first time reaching the channel, please hit the bell down below and please subscribe. If you're listening, make sure that you follow us wherever you get your podcast from. Follow the podcast feed so you know when we're dropping episodes here on Ragin Rundown. And in today's episode, we will be recapping the final game of 2025 for Qantas White and his Ragin Cajuns men's basketball squad. They welcomed in a South Alabama team that was 10-4 at the time. UL was coming off of back-to-back victories themselves. They had picked up a win over Norfolk State and then over ULM to start or to continue in conference play, that is. South Alabama came into this one and had two phenomenal guys that could score the basketball at a high clip in Adam Olson and Chase Harris. They were a dynamic duo, a tandem that worked really, really well together. Adam Olson had a day on the court, and ultimately that's what helped to lift the Jaguars over the Cajuns. 63-58 would be the final in that ball game. So let's just go over some of the game flow. As we look back at it, South Alabama came out the gate and took an early 3-0 lead. And over the course of the first half, Louisiana just continued to find ways to keep the game close and stay within striking distance along the way. And it was multiple times that they got really close, whether it was because of a three-pointer or whatever it may have been. And then Louisiana would eventually take a lead there late near the end of the first half. It was 19-14, 19-17. They tie it up at 19 apiece. South Alabama continues to gain momentum, building a more stronger lead. And then Louisiana eventually took a 25-24 lead thanks to a Josh Lewis three-pointer with about 5 minutes to go there in the half. The freshman Josh Lewis, scored 11 points there in the first half, but then somewhere near the end of the half, he would be kind of hacked pretty hard. The foul would not be called. He would hit the floor pretty hard, and he kind of grabbed at his left knee that already had KC tape on it. And when he came out in the second half, he had a knee brace put on that left knee. And from there, he did not score any more points. But complimenting alongside Josh was also Dorian Finister, who was your second leading scorer with 17 points. And a lot of what the Cajuns were doing were coming from the long range shooting. They were shooting a lot of three-pointers, 40 of them to be exact. And I know a lot of people complained about that, but if you go back and look defensively, what South Alabama was doing was sitting in a particular zone defense that was weaker in a lot of the corner areas where you could take three-pointers and could take set shots to give you an opportunity. And ultimately, Louisiana felt like the game plan would be, let's shoot as many threes as possible. Let's make them come out of the zone, and then we will attack them down inside into the paint. So that's why you saw them shoot so many three-pointers. Like I said, Louisiana continued to battle through in the first half to keep it close, and they would eventually end the half trailing 31-30 at recess. So they go in at the half, and they come out in the second half. And again, the game continues to stay close for much of the game, 34-32 at one point with 18 minutes to go, 34-31. Jackson O'Vera, like I said, found his rhythm more so in the second half. He finished the game with a team high 18 points, most of his points coming there in the second half. And the confidence in the shots that he was taking came more fluently for him there in the second half of the ball game. 41-40 at one point in the game. So it continuously stayed close in this one. But I'm going to skip ahead to further down into this one, where Louisiana would take a 4-point lead, 58-54 with a minute 44 to go in the ball game. right? Jackson O'Vera makes a turnaround jumper that puts them up by 4. That then puts them in a position to now be able to ice this game. South Alabama turns around, and 20 seconds later, Brian Hawthorne buries a three-pointer. I think he had only made like 3 or 4 in the entire season at that point, but he was open, and it would be a 1-point game. South Alabama calls a timeout. They come out of the timeout, and Devion Laverne has a costly turnover. South Alabama steals it, and then they lay it up. They take the lead back, and that would be pretty much all she wrote. It would be another turnover late in the ball game because of South Alabama running a full court press at that point. The ball gets tossed to Jeremiah Evans near half court, and he tosses it out of bounds while trying to get it back to Devion Laverne. South Alabama eventually ices the game because of free throws, and they end the game on a 9-0 run. They end the game on a 9-0 run to be able to pick up a 63-58 victory. And when we talk to Coach Quantas White, when we talked to the players in post-game, it was very clear that they understood that in those close situations that they have to be better at taking care of the basketball.
We got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. We did it the entire game, and right there at the end, that cost us. But that's not the play that lost the game. We have several plays on the defensive end where, they got some open looks. A layup here by Harris driving baseline on a miscommunication when we're supposed to be switching 1 through 5. We got to be better, and we've been better. Now we just got to correct those mistakes that we made.
Y'all continue to bear with me with my voice throughout this episode. I know I kind of sound a little different. The weather changes has me going up and down with my voice and being congested and everything. But we continue to push through to drop these episodes for you guys because we care about this stuff, man. So the overarching theme that a lot of people are going to pay attention to, obviously, is the late turnovers. And I think that is something very important to look at. But I also think that is not the only reason that they lost this game. I think that one of the other reasons that they were not able to win this game is because they had no true answer for Adam Olson. Adam Olson, I think coming into this one, was averaging around 15 or 16 points a game, and he scored a game-high 26. He did what he wanted to. He was shooting the long ball. He had the mid-range game. He was attacking the basket. It was pretty much his world, and everyone else was just living in it. And even Coach Quantas White said in post-game, that late three-pointer there that Brian Hawthorne was able to make after you went up by 4 points, he then cuts the lead back to 1 with a quick three-pointer just 20 seconds after you take the lead. So, yes, turning the basketball over is one thing that you cannot do in close situation games. However, you also cannot be lackadaisical on the defensive end when you're going back. You can't allow that three-pointer to be as easy of a shot as what it was for Brian Hawthorne. You got to get closer to him, get in his face, make it more difficult for him to take that shot. Don't make it just an easy, wide-open three-point attempt for him. And then also I think that the coming of Jackson O'Vera as more of your closing scorer, and I even asked Coach Q about this after the game, it seems that when the team needs a big shot, it is Jackson O'Vera that is seeming to take the basketball and saying, let me put the ball through the hoop. Let me make this big shot. Coach Q made it clear that he is confident in all of his players, and that is what he's supposed to say. But he commented on, how Jackson was able to come alive in the second half.
Jackson knows I believe in him, and he had some really huge threes. And so that's what he is. He's a 3-level scorer, and he's a guy that can score the ball, not just from the 3. That's just what he was given. So we took advantage of it.
So Louisiana's quest at trying to make it 3 wins in a row and then starting off 2026 on a 3-game win streak is snapped. Previously, before they had won back-to-back games, UL was on a 10-game losing streak. So it was good for them to get back in the win column. But this one is going to hurt. You could tell the guys were truly disappointed walking off the court. You could tell by their body language in post game that this one really stung for them. They felt like this was one that they truly should have had. And I would have to agree. You know, coulda, woulda, shoulda is the name of the game, but ultimately you lost this ball game. You have to be able to turn the page and move forward. And for them moving forward will be against the Southern Miss Eagles. And I'll give you a quick snapshot of what this team looks like. Alec Weeks is the leading scorer, not only on this team, but he is the highest scorer in the entire Sun Belt. He is a 6'7" junior from New York City, or New York, excuse me. I don't want any of the New Yorkers that might be watching this episode to get on me. Averaging 17 points and 6 rebounds a game. He's shooting 49% from the floor, but he doesn't shoot the 3 ball really well. He's only shooting 11% from 3. But regardless, he is going to be the guy that you're going to have to pay attention to the most. Followed by him, it is Isaac Tavares, who is a guard. He is averaging 15.8 points a game, 6.7 rebounds a game. He's shooting at 53% from the floor. Again, the 3-point shot, not nearly as big of an importance for him, shooting just 20% from the floor. But Tyler Weeks has started or played in 16 games. Isaac Tavares has played in 12 games. Now, for Southern Miss, they are just 1-5 in road games. Now, obviously, the past few road games that they've played in includes a loss to LSU, a 90-62 loss to LSU. It also includes a loss to Ole Miss. That one would be at home. So they've played 2 SEC programs as of recently. But like I said, they are 1-5 in road games. So lately this season, they have not played well away from home. They're currently 7-7 on the year, and they will be coming off of a game against ULM. They play actually on New Year's Day, depending on when you're listening to this episode. That would be today. They play them at 4 p.m. before they play the Cajuns on Saturday at noon on January 3rd. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Cajuns are going to attack the Golden Eagles. And I think it's going to be very important for them to figure out a way to slow down those guys. The main thing is you're not going to be able to stop these guys completely. The main thing is that you want to be able to hold them under their average as much as possible, affect them defensively, and then go get buckets on the other end offensively. They were able to hold Chase Harris, who's the leading scorer for South Alabama. Statistically on the year, they were able to hold him under his average, but it was Adam Olson that got off more so, that caused you problems, and ultimately was why you weren't able to pick up the victory in that one. So if the Cajuns are able to affect Southern Miss offensively with their 2 guys, leading scorers, Tyler Weeks and Tavares, if they were able to do those 2 things and then get guys going like Dorian Finister, Devion Laverne, Milan Mejia getting a couple more touches here and there, and then obviously Jackson Olvera being able to be your main guy taking over in late game situations. If they're able to do that, this is, again, going to be a close game, a close opportunity for them to play in. And it'll be interesting to see how they're able to come out on top. This is also the first time that they are playing again. The last time they played, it was in Hattiesburg, and that would be the game that Coach Q would be ejected from. Obviously now, obviously now you're back at home, and so you're in a different setting, and you've now learned from that experience. So you're going to move forward and try to bounce back. So we'll be paying attention to how the Cajuns are able to handle Southern Miss. We're going to take a quick time out here, and when we come back, we're going to talk about UL running backs coach Matt Bergeron, that will be leaving the program after an 8-year tenure and will be moving forward to a new program right here on Ragin Rundown. So like I mentioned before we went to break, UL running backs coach Matt Bergeron is leaving the program, and he is taking a new job as the offensive coordinator at Southeastern in Hammond. I received a few text messages from people close to the situation over the weekend, this past weekend, about Coach Bergeron taking the job. And ultimately for him, from what I've been told, This was not an easy decision. He loves UL. I got a chance to spend some time with him very closely when they were in Mobile for the 68 Ventures Bowl. Um, Being covering teams at bowl games, you have an opportunity. You're around them for multiple days. You're with them as they're doing community service projects. We were fortunate enough to stay in the team hotel. So you're getting on the elevator and you might see the starting quarterback. You might see Lunch Winfield. You might see Bill Davis. You might see Matt Bergeron on the elevator. So it was a lot of chances that I had to interact with him. And it was very clear that he has a lot of love for this program. It was very clear that he loves working for Michael Desimo. And it was very clear that he had been here for a long time because he believed in what they are building here at Louisiana. But ultimately, like many of us do in our lives, in our careers, there are moments where you're at a crossroad and you're given a decision and you would like to have some form of advancement. For him, is to be able to call plays. That's what I've been told from people close to the situation. He would like to be able to call plays. Right now, Michael Desimo is the play caller at UL, and he has been since he's taken over as the head coach of the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns. So, with that in mind, instead of possibly resenting him, I don't think he would have because he's been there for the 4 years that Des has been the head coach. But instead of waiting to see if an opportunity will come, he struck while the iron was hot. And he'll be joining a program in Southeastern under head coach Frank Selfo that has produced some, extremely high-powered offenses, some great talented players. And it'll be interesting to see. Matt is a great guy. He's a Mandeville native, and Mandeville and Hammond aren't that far from each other. So for him, it is also a chance to get closer to home. It's a chance to finally be able to call plays and to really see what he can do in the advancement of his career. So obviously, it stings because you already have lost 3 running backs. You've lost Bill, you've lost Zylan, you've lost Hutch Swilly to the transfer portal. And now you're losing your running backs coach. So from the outside looking in, it's like, man, now they have to really be able to bounce back because now you have to go get a position coach. I'm not sure of who they may go and get. When I shared the news on my Facebook page, former running back Chris Smith quoted it and said, "UL, y'all got my number." That'd actually be pretty funny. But I mean, Chris was a All-American running back, so I wouldn't see why an opportunity wouldn't present itself. And even Raymond Calais has been on the staff with the team, walking the sidelines throughout the 2025 season. So you have people in the building that you could potentially promote. You have people that have been in the program before that you could bring in. Chris Smith has been coaching throughout his time since he's finished playing. But we'll see. We'll see. But congratulations to Matt, to his family for gaining an opportunity to advance in his career. And we wish him well here from Ragin' Rundown, that he does all the best that he can, except for maybe when they're playing against UL. But we'll still be rooting for him, that he has a successful career, that he continues to grow in the future of what he wants to do. Hey guys, that's going to wrap up this episode of Ragin' Rundown. Be sure to like this video, share it with a friend, tell everybody about Ragin' Rundown. But most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel, subscribe and follow the podcast feed wherever you get your podcast from if you are listening, so you know when we drop episodes here on Ragin' Rundown. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time.